Imagine a city where the sound of an engine can be a threat, and a glance returned the wrong way can cost you your life. Where people learn to tell a firecracker from a gunshot before they learn to read. That city exists, and its name is Baton Rouge. You step out of the car, and the air hits your face like an unspoken warning, a mix of humidity, gasoline, and something you can't name but that straightens your spine. Baton Rouge doesn't shout, it murmurs. And in that murmur are distant sirens, engines revving too hard, and a strange silence every time you turn a corner with no witnesses. Welcome to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the U.S. capital of murder, according to the people who live and survive here. You won't find it on a postcard with the Mississippi River in the background, or on the stadium's Instagram on Saturdays. You'll understand it when your body tells you to walk with purpose, look little, and memorize your route before your hand touches the door handle. If you came out of curiosity, here, curiosity pays a toll. You don't need statistics to get it. The people explain it to you at the gas station, in the grocery line, at the domino table in front of a porch faded and splintered by the sun. Here, the problem isn't whether you can get killed, it's how many decisions back the mistake started, says a man with his cap low and eyes tired from measuring distances. He teaches you, without quite teaching you, the 3 rules you'll recite like psalms until you leave. Don't post your location, don't stay where you're not wanted, don't go back the same way. He says it with a calm that's scarier than a scream. In Baton Rouge, survival is a language. Some learned it before they learned to read. A sticky hot day. Outside a neighborhood store, a group of kids lean on a car that's seen too many winters. They have that mix of swagger and alertness that only exists where danger is routine. One, the thinnest, lifts his pant leg with a joking gesture to show a scar. 19. He says. First time at 19, second at 20. I still carry a bullet because the doctor said it was better to leave it there. Free souvenirs. He laughs, but it isn't laughter. It's a way to keep his voice from shaking. When you ask if he's thought about leaving, he looks at you like you told a foreign joke. Leave to where? No one's waiting for me anywhere. Here at least I know who might hate me. The blocks shed their skin like snakes, 2 streets toward the river and the trees cast movie shade, 2 to the north, and the shade comes from a pole with a camera on top, a glass eye that sees a lot and understands little. Baton Rouge is a map of invisible borders, the same gas station for 2 neighborhoods that can't stand each other, the same park with bent hoops where kids play at being grown-ups without knowing that here, growing up fast isn't a virtue, it's a warning sign. That side isn't yours. They signal with a tilt of the head, no words. And you nod even if you don't quite know which sides are which. The only sure thing is that the place you're standing in now belonged to someone else an hour ago, and will again in a little while. Some call this the murder capital, with the same ease others say city of jazz or seafood country. They don't say it to impress you, they say it so you won't be fooled. The worst thing isn't the bullet, adds a guy who looks older than he is. The worst comes before. That moment when you hear an engine cut and don't know if they came for you. The second when your phone buzzes at the wrong hour and you think it's the news you weren't expecting, but we're expecting. Baton Rouge trains your ear like a sad conservatory. You learn to tell a firecracker from a gunshot, a busted muffler from a slow car that doesn't want attention. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not. Ask about the police, and you'll hear 2 stories that overlap without touching. One says patrol cars circle, there are cameras, they've put more eyes where there were none. The other says those eyes look but don't always see. Uniforms show up when the party's over, and only plastic cups remain on the ground. Between the 2 lies the reality that won't fit in a speech. Neighbors who no longer call because calling can make things worse. Officers who prefer to wait for backup before entering certain blocks. Statistics that rise and fall with the month, the season, the mood. Baton Rouge can't be contained in a number, but a number can serve as an excuse. It's not just the violence, it's what violence does Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. Formal jobs that pay late, split shifts, records that lock doors like invisible deadbolts. An address no one wants to write on a form, a boss who asks if that scar means you can still lift boxes, a bus that doesn't arrive on time, and a supervisor who doesn't forgive delays. The street, on the other hand, pays cash and immediately, even if the price comes later with impossible interest. What would you do if at 16 you needed money for the house, throws a girl with stone eyes in a teacher's voice. I'm not talking sneakers, I mean food, lights, diapers. You have no answer that holds. Baton Rouge lifts it from your pocket like a pickpocket. The gun isn't a symbol, it's a tool. No one gives you a philosophy lecture when they ask if you're carrying. I carry so they don't kill me, not to kill, they repeat like a mantra. And in saying it, they show you the perfect contradiction, protecting yourself with the very thing that can condemn you. Some learn to shoot on an empty court, practicing against their fear. Some keep it in the glove box and pray they won't need it. Some can't sleep without it nearby because their cousin was caught in the kitchen at midnight, and that's enough to never trust doors again. In Baton Rouge, security is DIY. Bars, dogs, watchful neighbors, a WhatsApp chat, a prayer, and sometimes a gun. Then you hear the code that replaces the code. No telling. Don't say anything. If you saw something, you didn't. If you knew something, you don't. It's not movie romanticism, it's fear accounting. Talking makes you a target. Silence makes you a statistic. Between target and statistic, too many people choose to keep breathing. Street justice is fast, but it isn't justice. It's the wheel that bites whoever's in front, confesses a young pastor who organizes nighttime basketball to steer the night somewhere else. Sometimes it works. Sometimes, when the first siren wails, they're already packing cones and bottles because they know the game is over. The city has its own liturgy of trauma. No one says post-traumatic stress. They say, I can't handle fireworks since last July. No one confesses anxiety. They say, I sleep with the TV on because silence scares me. Mothers who keep their kids' notebooks like bulletproof vests. Brothers who study routes to school like planning a military retreat. Couples who don't post photos together so no one can find them. Love in Baton Rouge, when it exists, lives out in the open, and with a helmet. When did all this start? The person who meets your eyes looks to the past like it's a dead-end alley. There's not enough daylight, they answer. And they're right. Baton Rouge drags stories that never made your textbook. Neighborhoods left off the opportunity map, plant closures that left invisible tattoos, schools that teach survival better than test-taking, policies born far away and applied here as if they didn't hurt. It's not an excuse. It's a map of causes. They ask us to play a game whose rules were written by someone who's never been here, says a teacher who's already buried 2 students. And still, we show up to teach every morning. It isn't all defeat. There's a barber who gives free Tuesday afternoon cuts to people with job interviews who can't afford one. There's a lady who cooks jambalaya for the block's teenagers on Sundays after church, so they're not hungry for something else at that hour. There's a former rapper who now drives a forklift and offers rides to those starting the graveyard shift. There's a mediator program that sits between 2 neighborhoods that don't speak and sometimes manages to lower the guns and raise the arguments. Baton Rouge doesn't just bleed, it stitches. But the street's pull is a shiny magnet. Fast money, recognition in your zone, the feeling, wrong but powerful, that you control your story. They talk about last man standing. And it sounds like a video game until you understand there are no screens or rewards here, just funerals where children no longer ask why everyone's wearing black. We're not a gang, many repeat. We're family. And when they say it, it's not a cover. It's an accurate description of how bonds form where the state shows up only as a tax or a siren. The problem is that when that family loses someone, they don't buy flowers. They buy time to look for whoever's responsible. And so, the wheel keeps turning. Patrol cars pass by. Sometimes they stop just because a group is gathered. ID. What are you doing? Clear the sidewalk. The friction is constant. Some days it ends there. Other days the atmosphere ignites with a spark no one can snuff out. Baton Rouge is a precarious balance between authority and pride. Each side believes the other is lying a little. An officer confides he's tired, that he's paid to be at risk where others just swing through to record and get views. A neighbor says he's fed up, that he pays to be treated like a suspect on his own stoop. And between them, a night that gives no respite. When darkness falls, the city changes languages. Under the floodlights, the graffiti tells stories you didn't notice by day. Porches fill with shadows speaking in low voices, and the Mississippi glows like it's carrying every secret inside it. In that darkness, fear and hope share a table, each with a plastic cup. They offer you a seat. "It's not all death," says a woman with hands that have always worked. "We have births, graduations, songs, jokes, backyard weddings. It's just that the bad news makes more noise sometimes." Contradiction lives beside the music. On the same block where a kid flashes a chain in front of a camera, an older man plays blues on a 3-string guitar and lifts an eyebrow each time a car stops. On the same corner where words and hands both fly, a couple holds each other like hugging is the only private insurance there is. In Baton Rouge, beauty happens next to horror without asking permission or apologizing. And then the question floating above everything: can it be stopped? Some say yes, but with real work, not speeches. That you have to cut the bridge between an argument and a shot. Mediators, jobs with same-day pay, safe nighttime spaces as alternatives to the street, mental health care without bureaucracy. Some say no, that it's too late, that spilled blood draws maps that won't erase. And some say nothing, because having an opinion is exhausting too. The solution won't fit on a slogan. It won't fit in one more patrol car either. Baton Rouge needs those in charge to look closely and without filters, and those who live here to receive more than promises and checkpoints. And that's how we reach the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, I invite you to leave a like so we can keep making more videos like this. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. Have a great day. See you next time.